People were congratulating, wow, you've done a bold film, coming and telling me that, oh my god, the intimacy in the film was larger than life. ये जो जोकर लग रहा है या फिर what they don't know how to dance. It's very easy to comment. Unfortunately, the kind of scripts I've gotten to read, they don't give equal weightage to the women. I think पहली बात तो ये bold कहने वाले वो लोग हैं जिनको female sexuality एक foreign concept लगती है. When I got this script, I had a conversation with Dilip sir and he told me that there will be some intimate scenes. We as actors were not allowed to see the monitors. I need to trust what Shuchi has finalized on. But Sundance wasn't like that. Everyone, directors, producers, all alike actors were just in the same room wearing the same kind of woolen. They'd be like, let's go, independent cinema, and all the people who champion this, so you're all great, and this film is great.
So I think to begin with, I created this community. Like my motivation was trying to find movies that nobody was talking about. So if I be very honest, there are like big commercial budget movies that are pretty average or sometimes shit and still gets that footage because everyone is still talking about a bad movie. And I'm like, can we move on to shit that is actually good and will never be heard of? Can we give some social clout to that? Then at one point in time, I was watching a lot of movies, and that's when I
Yeah.
thought, let's just share it on Instagram and see what happens. And it actually ended up, in fact, I was having a word with Rohit when we were trying to plan this, that what are you looking it out of it? And I suggested that this is, while a small community, but very high quality conversations and people, like a lot of aspiring directors already made a lot of movies, actors. So yeah, that's been my journey, but would love to know from you as well.
No, I feel like I really appreciate the way you've taken this forward. When you are like a part of multiple things, it all adds on to each other. I feel like your corporate
Yeah.
expertise, your understanding of the film business, like why, people will talk about a bad film, but a good film doesn't get its clout. So it's all about, how marketing and advertising works. It sometimes I feel like the bad films are advertised on the way that okay, they're bad and they're horrible. But you know what? You can't escape it. You have to go and watch it and you have to come and talk about it. So that's how the conversation persists. But for good films that just purely rely on writing or execution or performances, they're not special in a way that okay, you would expect a film to be good, right? So you've done that, what else can I talk about? It's like a good student, or like a, I mean, if I have to put it how people just discard the work, that this is going to be too much, but how people discard the work women do at homes and be like, okay, this is what you're expected to do, right? But we don't take that time off to be like, I'm actually contributing a lot. Good cinema does contribute a lot in, helping some people reflect upon, and it's cathartic for people who watch it.
No, I completely second that thought. In fact, what you've been told, right, that half of your country is going through some troubles that they are looking at escapism. But then there
Mm.
are also a lot, like for example, it happened with me and it happened with your film. I saw that and I was like, there is relatability there, man. This is my childhood, and I can't even recall. Forget about the conventional stereotypical mother-daughter relationship in a movie, but um, like just a mother-daughter relationship, I couldn't recall one. And I was like, we're not even saying do good stuff. We're saying talk about it. We're even like starting there. So that relatability, the fact that hey, is it just not me? That is sometimes can create a belonging to, like, I will never talk about things that I could relate with in your movie, right? It's pretty pointless, but the fact that I can belong with a piece of content out there or somebody's journey gives me the fact, like, gives me that confidence that I am not alone in this, and it was not a weird childhood for me. I am not the the bad kid or the questionable kid. So I think it moved me. I think while I plan to talk about the movie much later, but here we are. Let's talk about you. How's life?
Life is fine. I think 2024 was, I think I'm still very confused. When the film got out, we were very happy, of course, because that's it itself is a victory that, first you get the money to make it, then you get the people to make it, and then you make it, then you have to send it across. So all of that itself is just like a lot of important milestones that should be, like we should pat on our backs to be able to do that. I
Absolutely.
mean, pat on the backs of my producers to be able to get that out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but when the film got out, when it came on Sundance, I did not know what to expect really, because Sundance is a great festival, but I've never been there. It's a very different culture from how we watch films here in India. So when I
Okay.
went there, I met a bunch of people coming from all walks of life, from all across the continent, and just being super informal about film, because we tend to put films or filmmakers on a pedestal and be like, okay, they're very unreachable people. But Sundance wasn't like that. Everyone, directors, producers, all alike, actors, were just in the same room wearing the same kind of woolen to protect themselves from the heat, and very cheerful people. You will in an auditorium first, the programmers will come and introduce the film, and they will hype the film. They'll be like, let's go independent cinema, and all the people who champion this, so you're all great and this film is great. So everyone is really excited about it. And when we had our screening, when it got over, I was almost in disbelief of people coming and congratulating us, because I was like, okay, that's the standard, right? If you watch a premiere, you will come and congratulate us. I thought, okay, it's too good to be true that they're coming and appreciating my performance. But then eventually in the festival, I think within 2 to 3 days, when we had a couple of more screenings, we started getting recognized on streets, and people would be like talking, and we'd eavesdrop and be like, oh, they're like, oh, there's this crazy mother daughter film that we saw. Oh my God, you should totally watch it. I'm like, they're talking about our film.
Me.
So the confusion then eventually started like going away, and it was even more validating to listen to what people are saying. And when I say it's validating, I definitely say that it was a lot of external validation that we got. And also, of course, I love Shuchi and the work she has done as a filmmaker. I'm talking about validation that I have to give myself as a performer. So when Sundance got over, I got back to India, and we got these awards. Naturally, I felt like, oh wow, things are going to change now. Things are going to be just big and buzzy, and work is going to flow, and everything's going to happen. Throughout 2024, I realized that it's never the external validation, but at the end of the day, I should be the one who should lift myself up, or should appreciate my own work, or pat on my back that, okay, you've pulled off a good thing, and now let's move ahead. So that's a great learning from 2024, and something that I am trying to replicate in 2025. Of course, I really want to work. I really have to take on the push that this film has given me. um, it was a challenging role. Challenging in the sense that intimacy is it's a taboo in our country, and we don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard comments like coming and telling me that, oh my God, the intimacy in the film was larger than life, and I was really taken aback, because it's not larger than life. I thought it's very much in sync with how life is. And people were congratulating, wow, you've done a bold film, and other actresses who've done films like this have been congratulated for their boldness. And although being bold and brave was great, but I feel like it was a very vulnerable performance, and I connect more to the vulnerability of being intimate rather than being like a courageous, bold person being intimate. I appreciate these responses, and I want to explore what more can I do with my own self, and what other characters can I do. And again, another thing that comes to my head is because the kind of acting that this performance required was very different, was very internal acting. And I have to give it to, artists, especially in the Indian films. An actor has to know a lot of things. They need to know how to dance. They need to know how to sing. They need to know how to look good, carry on clothes and costumes and have so much energy. I think that's really, really complicated, and it's really challenging. I think on the face, when you look at a film, it's very easy to criticize and be like, this person just
True.
completely didn't do, ना, he's a joker लग रहा है, या फिर what they don't know how to dance. It's very easy to comment, but I feel like at least Indian commercial Bollywood space is very difficult to crack for actors.
That's
They're
true.
expecting a lot of things. This kind of an appreciation was something which I feel like both Dilip Shankar sir and even Ali Fazal, got me into thinking. They're like, okay, you've done a film that has gone to a film festival, and you've done a film that requires its subtleties, but also try to tap into a different energy now. Like great, great appreciation for people who are able to pull off, a commercial film, and have that energy for themselves in the audiences.
That's a very new take. The fact that something that's very commercial, like how I think is, and I am not a film student or even been on sets, honestly. Like I am just an enthusiast from looking at the screen. So, and of course, like I can imagine somebody like pulling off a Yash Raj film or a Yash Chopra production in the sense is huge. Like you can look at it and you can imagine. But talking about the fact that, you mentioned in 2024, you had that feeling that now opportunities will be like lined up, everyone will be on the door. And then you said it was about lifting yourself up. Can you bridge these two for me? I'm very curious what happened with opportunities, and do you have to lift yourself up? I mean, weren't you proud already that when you're 23?
Well, yes, I was proud the kind of work that I'm putting into, and I think in 2023 and 24, I was also learning how to make films. That's something I always
Yeah.
wanted to do. I feel like I was too scared to even dream that, I could act. I've done stage, but to be able to see myself on big screen was too daring of a dream. It was like very unknown territory. I've made short films at home, so I know, okay, if I make a film, I know what kind of response I would get from my peers or from my school, my family. I know that. But for acting to, I was completely reliant on Shuchi. I was completely reliant on my cinematographer or Amrita David's editing. I feel like at the end of the day, it's how they have put together pieces of my performances and made it look like a beautiful thing. Again, when I say that, I also have to look back and appreciate things that I did in the film that have, resonated with the audiences. So that's where I feel like I need to uplift for this film. The kind of acting training I got, I understood what exactly I'm putting into it, what thought is going behind my head. I know the technique. Before
Hmm.
this, the kind of screen work that I had done a short film, I had done a few ad films. I had no idea. I was completely blank in the head as to what's happening. I had memorized my lines, I'd gone, and I was reading in the first instinct. Or it was a very stage instinct also कि थोड़ा सा ड्रामेटाइज करके लाइंस को बोलना ऑन द स्क्रीन एंड लाइक I have so much respect for people who are working at that time with me to hold my hand and guide me through that phase. So मुझे पता नहीं था मैं क्या कर रही हूँ and which is why I don't appreciate enough कि what I'm doing. So
Acha,
after girls,
makes sense.
that अच्छा what I've done, I'm able to understand and I'm able to also have that gaze for other performers when I know कि अच्छा what is the beat shift that's happening, what is the line exactly that's hitting, and how is an actor listening, because we just feel like acting is acting on the face could look a lot like learning lines and giving it, but it's also about responding to your co-actors or your environment.
Absolutely.
So what that gaze in the film from Dilip sir's training was when I could understand and appreciate, okay, what perhaps Keshav has done or what perhaps Kani has done, and how I have taken from their energies and you know
Very interesting. And about the opportunities, like, do you see that? So, because how I'm looking at this is your first film is so great. Like, I'm probably talking about like a cinephile context, but you've seen that happen to you, right? You've seen getting two awards. You got two in Mami as well. Everyone's praising from all co-actors or like people in the industry as well. So, वो
yeah.
तो clear एक success है, right? But what does it take? तो कैसी हैं opportunities? Do you see commercial projects coming your way as well? अगर ऐसा कुछ कोई क्रैक कर ले what you've done, तो is it sorted for them या उसके बाद struggle for commercial is from scratch?
I think the struggle is always there, and that is another new learning. And it's
Hmm.
not just in my like I've again because I'm understanding my struggle these days. I'm also looking at other actors who may have like okay इनका ये काम निकल रहा है ये काम निकल रहा है, but we never know what they're going through, and we never know the kind
Correct.
of rejection do every day. And despite having great performances, they still might not be, getting their due credit. And they might be, so it's like someone will come suddenly. And I think this has been a very recent trend in 2024, especially. I feel like the trend of just virality. It's a trend ki,
Hmm.
oh, history has been created. Oh, like this is the most big thing right now. I've seen this trend and it's very exhausting. This is something which has come up with social media and just
Attention
views and
span.
like attention span. Yeah. So, matlab, I don't think that history gets created in a year. And I'm
Hmm.
I'm not saying because I'm a history graduate, but it's always the pattern. It's always
Hmm.
a span of at least a decade or at least 100 years. When you go ahead of it, will you realize ki acha, what was happening at this time? Right now, these sprouts of things where we feel like history has been created is nothing, honestly. It's not.
Hmm.
It does. doesn't amount to much. Our film has come about to its form right now after 8 years. Likewise, Payal Kapadia's film is a work of a long time. These writings and these films take a long time, and I
Correct.
totally up someone taking that much time in bringing something out, because then you've thought of every detail, you've thought of everything, you've bounced this idea with a lot of people, you've gone through script labs, maybe you've gone through a lot of work, and you finally put out something which is like a very carefully knitted craft. And I
Correct.
think we need that much time. There used to be time like Mughal Azam was 12 years in the making, and there are great pieces of art in Italy, cathedrals that have taken 12 centuries to come about, and that's why they are what they are. We can't put films in the machines of factories. We can't have the same capitalistic rule for them.
True.
That's not how creative. And when I say
Hmm.
that, I also feel bad for artists in present times because they have to sustain themselves. We don't have, and this is where, like in the medieval times, we used to have patrons who would be like, okay, I'm giving you this much money and you make something. Right now, artists really need that. They really need that backup, which is my parents are very rightly concerned that you need to have something on the side. You need to
On the
have something
side.
going up. And I also get paranoid about it sometimes. Initially, I was like, okay, fine, I can live off you for some time, I guess. But I understand that concern. And right now,
Hmm.
technology is fighting with us in an all-time high. Like AI is there, and there is tons of softwares and technologies that are competing with us. It's unfortunate. Coming to the kind of things that I'm getting to read, when I took Shuchi's example or when I took Payal Kapadia's examples, these are the women who really understand, or the people who really understand the women psyche, or they understand what's going inside a woman's head. And that's something I completely resonate with at this point. There is another thing that goes on, that it's a female centric film, but I feel like when I'm reading a script, there should be like a very deep understanding of the character, and it should reflect in the writing. And unfortunately, the kind of scripts I've gotten to read, they don't give equal weightage to the women. They're always just, they're always a relation attached to the male character. They're always there as, okay, the love angle of the whole script is coming from you. So that's something I don't resonate with. And that's something I want to prevent myself from working with. And again, when I say that, I think I'm being too utopian, I'm being too optimistic, and I'm being too picky when I say that. So and that's why I want people like Shuchi and Payal to take their time and write something, because then eventually what they bring out is just going to be so thoughtful and so lived that it'll be a joy to perform something like that. So yeah, it's again a very confusing territory. Yeah,
No, no,
that's
makes
what it
sense.
is.
Makes absolute sense. It's not as confusing as well. But I want to double click on, and I've seen people like Richa herself and some of the other people talk about the fact that, there is a good film, and that's also probably also you. There's a good story. It's not a film right now. It's a story that comes to you. वहां पे आपका रोल आपको स्टोरी अच्छी लगी आपका रोल ऑफ कोर्स हो सकता है इज अटैच्ड टू और इज अ लिटिल कन्वेंशनल इन द फीमेल पोर्ट्रेयल सेंस ऑफ थिंग्स हाउ बिग इज दैट अ डिसीजन मेकिंग पॉइंट के रोल की वजह से लाइक वुड यू पिक इज रोल बिगर देन द स्टोरी और हाउ इज इट लाइक बिकॉज आई एम वेरी क्यूरियस टू नो
I think it's always the story.
हम्म
You could protagonist of a very badly written story, and you will, sink in that
करेक्ट
Titanic.
तो अगर कोई अच्छी
You
स्टोरी आती है जिसमें ऐसा रोल होता है वुड यू पिक दैट
Of course, because then I
ऑसम
feel it's a very well thought out role, and it
हम्म
doesn't matter with the screen space it's having. It's impactful. It has to be an impactful role to
करेक्ट
be, maybe like five people in the audience sit and be like, oh wait, I noted that character. That is what I feel like what a role should, like, that is how you should pick on something. If it's getting overshadowed by other elements of the film, then
इट्स नॉट एज
I mean, again,
एक्साइटिंग
it's not as exciting, yeah. But again, no judgments for people who take that, because we need
ऑफ कोर्स
those roles to be fleshed out. And like, I would literally want myself to free from that thought. Like, what is gonna like, I want to free myself from the thought ki what is happening with this character, free myself in the way ki when I'm reading a script I should stop sitting in the audience and judging this character. It should be more like, okay, let me just immerse in this character, and then I think I'll be very happy if I just stop looking at it from the outside perspective and I create that own world in my head. I'll be very happy. I feel like this is a big world enough for me to fill in. And yeah, I'm literally not endorsing what I'm thinking, but I'm endorsing how eventually you should, pick on your roles.
I actually wanted to talk a lot about movie, the Girls Will Be Girls. I like going to watch movies that I kind of know that has some signs, right? Who's produced it, directed it, the plot and stuff, and then I go completely blank. Like I don't see the plot. I don't. I want the movie to surprise me. Can it hold me
Yeah.
for the first 10 seconds? Like those are like my
Yeah.
थोड़े ऐसे challenges or like that is what I enjoy. Can you hold me for the first? So वो सब था मेरा with Girls Will Be Girls. तो जब मैंने ये देखा and I was blown. Like I literally paused and I googled you. That's what happened because I was like ये कौन लड़की है? ये कैसे कर रही है ये acting और ये and then I got to know it's her debut. I just thought I googled you to find more movies of you and just to know more about that in that sense. Then I found out it's your debut, and I'm like I know Kani is like she's great and she's done a lot of other similar work, and there's you who's doing this literally for the first time. और मुझे सीन्स ऑनेस्टली बोल्ड नहीं लगे क्योंकि वो डेफिनेशन ही नहीं है इस मूवी में उस सीन्स की बहुत डिफरेंट लगे जो मुझे वैसे भी थोड़ा इस लेवल का एक्सपेक्टेड नहीं है विद इंडियन कल्चर टू शो दिस पर वो लाइक द वे इट कनेक्टेड राइट मैं तो कमिंग ऑफ एज मेरा वो विविड है बिकॉज तब like the way 90s is shown it's literally when I grew up and it's exactly that time those constraints and those restrictions and the mother daughter relationship. I live with my mother and it's a lot of
Yeah.
mother daughter alone time that we have spent. It's nothing like how they show and you always are finding the story in your friends. See how you like with your mother, do you also fight daily? Is it also like
Yeah.
almost sometimes like a why is there an ego clash that's happening between that relationship? But that's absolutely normal as well. So you
Yeah.
would find those stories in your friends or आप सोचते हो कि यार ये कहाँ हो रहा है तो वो जैसे लैंड हो रहा था ना मूवी में आई वॉज वेरी ब्लोन अवे विद दैट. तो मुझे आपसे ये पूछना था कि आई नो क्रेजी कुछ प्रेप होगा बट आपके लिए बिकॉज आई थिंक बिफोर दिस यू डन थिएटर बट दिस इज नॉट just acting, right? This is a very different role from where at least we are coming from, the kind of audience. तो आपने ये सब सोचा कि लोग कैसे perceive करेंगे? Your family had to sit down. तो आपका कैसा था वो experience of not just prepping but like just BTS, like off camera, on camera, with on sets at home? How was it for you?
आई थिंक पहली बात तो ये बोल्ड कहने वाले वो लोग हैं जिनको फीमेल सेक्सुअलिटी एक फॉरेन कॉन्सेप्ट लगती है, उनको लगता है कि
कि हाँ ये थोड़ी करती हैं लड़कियां.
करती हैं लड़कियां, एंड एनी representation of female sexuality is explicit and it's supposed to arouse and it's meant for male gaze and all of those things ki matlab, I mean, what can you even say? Like, even a woman who just dresses whichever way she wants to, it always feels like this is for the male eye, no? You were doing it for attention, no? Yeah, I feel like the people who've seen the film that way have probably just completely watched in another mindset. When I got this script, I mean, even before getting it, I had a conversation with Dilip sir, and he told me that there will be some intimate scenes, but there will be no nudity. So I also want to understand if you are independent in taking your decisions. So in
Hmm.
my head, I would have to do this film. And I was very clear that I have to do this film. I'm also very dependent on my parents. I am anything, any film, any audition that comes my way, they all know about it. They all know what's going to happen and they all see the audition also most likely. So this was very fresh to me. This had never come to me. I think before this, I was given an audition for a film where it had certain intimacy involved. And I don't know, the moment I read it, I was like, I'm not feeling this. And I told my sister, and my sister's like, don't be scared to say no. If you're not resonating with it, you don't have to put up a face and be
Correct.
like, take it so personally, don't take it so seriously. नहीं अच्छा लग रहा है तो मत करो. And at the end of the day, when I saw the film also come out, I was like, this is done very distastefully. I'm sorry. I'm glad I did not do it. When Dilip sir had this conversation with me, I knew that okay, I'll have to have some conversations at home. So the first person I called up again was my sister, and I was like, there's something brilliant that's happening. They want me to do the lead, which is surprising, and they want to meet me and they want to send me the script, but there'll be intimacy involved. So my sister's also like, I'm also very happy, but I'm also scared. But and I also told my sister, see, I don't want to not do the film because of the intimacy. I think there's a lot of things that is happening in the film which are important, and intimacy shouldn't be the only thing through which you judge the film. As like, I want to give my shot, I want to be like, I give the audition, I want to give my 200%, and then if I don't fit the role, I want them to say no rather than me saying no first. Reading the script, understanding, I realized that this is a great project for me to work on. I need not be scared about intimacy at all, and there are bigger things that the film wants to say, but like intimacy and female sexual exploration is a very important thing. But I want to be a part of this. And this character is just stunning. This girl, Mira, is, again, this is something I understand in retrospect, that there were so many complex emotions going through her. It's not just, her mother and her boyfriend. It's also about how you're always on the face the right person, but on the inside you're fighting something. You're on the inside, you're feeling like maybe I'm doing the wrong thing. But that's how the age is. So it's just a stunning character, and I really, really wanted to do it. And ultimately, the film just ended up gifting me so much more than what I had anticipated. I just got out of the set being a lot comfortable in my skin. I think the first day we shot that scene where Mira is taking a shower and she's kissing her hand. I was in a towel. I had wrapped around a towel, and I remember feeling great. I remember being like, wow, I've never been like this in front of other people. And I've never done something so intimate and so vulnerable in front of other people. But I'm feeling good, and I'm feeling happy and confident that I can pull this off. And also just to have so many women around, if anything, even like if there's any mishappening that happens, maybe my towel falls off. These people know what what I have inside me. There's going to be no judgment about anything, and they will take care of it. Every time we went for an intimate scene, we would have a closed set and the monitors would basically go off. We would have a couple of other monitors for other people to supervise, but they would go off, and only our cinematographer Jui and Shuchi would monitor what's happening.
Wow.
Again, when we as actors were not allowed to see the monitors. So I'd completely gotten after, it's like not using your phone and realizing there's a world outside of it. Like not seeing the mirror. So you completely like stop caring about
How you look.
maybe your face looking a little bigger. You just stop thinking about that. Because in the film, we focus so much on feeling. And if I'm, as a performer, feeling right about the rage that I'm going through, feeling right about the jealousy that I'm going through, or feeling right about the sadness that I'm going through, I was like, my job here is done. And I need to trust what Shuchi has finalized on, what the DOP thinks is a good take, or what the editor at the end of the day puts on the final cut. That is their work, and I have to trust them if they are trusting me to be able to emote.
If the shower scene was the first day of shoot, that's one of my most favorite scene. And I think if anybody, I'll definitely have a gender bias, but if anybody who will watch the movie, like my takeaway is mother-daughter, like the teenage sexual exploration for sure. But when I was looking at scene where you're like kissing your hand, I was like, how innocent is this scene?
Yeah.
There is absolutely no sexual connotation to it. You're rehearsing and feeling a kiss. It was so innocent. It was just exploration, being like a baby being curious with food. It
Yeah.
was so beautiful. I had goosebumps when. By the way, what's your favorite scene from the film?
I think it's the last scene.
The oiling.
Because, yeah, the oiling scene. I tear up every time I watch it. And it was also a very nice moment while we were shooting. It wasn't planned that I will start crying and then I'll put my head on Kani's head. It happened spontaneously. So in that moment also, Dewey had fixed the camera in a way, but then when I lean forward, my face almost gets cut. But you can still see the eye. It's still like a very gorgeous frame where you with Mira. And then Dewey slowly pans the camera and fixes us both into the frame. So I feel like in that moment, it's a very documentary style of filmmaking that takes place. It just really enters into the audience's head. And for me, it really entered into my head where in that scene, I started tearing up because I was thinking about how horrible I was to my mother growing up. And I'd be like, that woman has not been given this much love that she has given to me. And also for Anila, I feel like in that moment, I thought this poor lady has never This is the first time someone's actually, caressing her and putting that oil on her head. People have just like trampled over her. Her husband has neglected her. There was a new boy who just used them, and her daughter never talks nicely to her. So finally, she is loved to Anila. So yeah, it was such a beautiful time to.
How was it working with Kani, and how were you guys picking up each other's energy? और क्या आपके characters off camera भी reflect होते हैं? Was there
I think it became more of a very strong female friendship, and I feel like a very sisterly bond with Kani. Because there's a lot of maternity in being a sister, because my elder sister is like that. She feels very maternally for me. She often stood up for me on set. Maybe there's a scene where both of us will discuss. So she had that protection for me. So I felt that sisterly maternity wasn't like he. Matlab, when you're becoming a mother, it's almost like I'll prevent you from doing this. Don't do this, but she wanted me to take that risk. Tum karo, like do whatever you're doing. I don't want to overstep in what your process is, but happy to help and happy to stand up for you.
this is your debut and this is also Shuchi's first film. So how was Shuchi? Because I'm guessing she was working on this film a little before. So I'm sure it'll be like a very interesting off the this is how it is done kind of feeling. It was exploratory, but I would love to know from you, how was it? Was it very raw?
Yeah, I think it was very raw, but also, I mean, when we say it's Shuchi's first film, I feel like she's very thorough with emotions. As a person, like just in her life, the way she observes and the
Hmm.
way she someone's psyche, she's very thorough with that. You will have a conversation with her, and you will hear some brilliant things about being a human, some brilliant vulnerabilities, and some like I don't know how to put it. I am not sure if I'm coming across clearly, but I don't know. She'll describe certain situations in life so well that you'll be like, wow, how did she think about this? I don't have the right sentence for that situation, but she's putting it well, so nicely. And
और इस मूवी में तो बहुत फर्स्ट थे ना. I was watching one of Ali's interview where he was like there were no female gaffers. We almost created sorts or
yeah,
something, and they're training them. So काफी सारे off, in behind the camera people were also doing it for the first time. So it was like that movie. I would love to be on this set. Like good female energy, people doing their work for the first time. And of course, if you're doing something for the first time, your life is preparing you for that, right? So the way you said, Shuchi, she's a personality, right? Like this is her product, and this is coming from not doing it from the first time, but also like a product of experiences.
her.
So one is, what are you watching currently? Anything that you watched recently that blew you, like Girls and Louis Girls blew me away.
So one is the last one that I watched was La La Land, and it happened very spontaneously because Oscars was
Ah,
like buzzing around, and then I was like, okay, let's just watch La La Land. I was not watching the film because it's just so talked about. When people start talking about it, I'm like, okay, I'll take my time and watch it. And then I watched it, and then I resonated like I was like, I never thought I am going to resonate to a film which is about acting and which is about this hustle and this struggle. So and अभी मेरे दिमाग में constantly that epilogue music where the final scene where they're all summing up what could have happened, that music is running in my head, so it's just adding a lot of music to my life in general. If I'm walking around, I feel like that background music is going on and I need to give a dance. There's a great film called Matt and Mara. It's a Canadian film. Again, it's a very lived in film and very simple film. And I feel like what is stopping people from making such like dal chawal film where you just it's simple but it's so effective. It's a treat to perform in something like that, and it's a treat to write and edit something like that, because at the end of the day you're like, okay, I've made something really beautiful. I don't know how to explain it, just watch it. But other like classics that I watched, there is Erin Brockovich. I was blown away by Julia Roberts. She's
yeah,
just stunning so
she's
much.
fabulous.
um, yeah, and that film also was just perfect. Like the beats and everything was spot on. Whiplash, another one of Damien Chazelle. I think that film too was just like it kept me on my hooked to my seat. I was like, wow, what is going to happen? And again, the performance by Miles Teller. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name right. So yeah,
Any Indian film to add to your list? Any Indian one?
really
Or
look
a
at.
show? Or a show?
I
Did you
watched
see
Black.
Black Warrant.
Patalo.
पता लोग.
Patalo have not been because I was waiting for my friend to watch it with me, and then I've not been able to. We both have not been able to match our schedule, so not watched Patalo, but I watched Black Warrant, and I think I really like having a male character who's scared, a male character in a and who's vulnerable and very new to violence. I love that. So and uh the the guy who plays Vipin Dahiya, I think he's just fabulous. And when I looked at him, I'm like,
Oh.
what? How did they find him? He's just too good. So yeah, I think
Shows are still good, but movies even like even I've been struggling to find. But I think Malayalam cinema. Do you like that?
of course, I think the last one that I saw was Atom. And again, I think I watched it twice.
Oh,
I watched it twice.
Ottoman
It was lovely.
experiences.
Or
So I wanted to ask, like I touched upon it a bit. You know, how's the process like? आप एक अच्छा काम कर लेते हो क्या उसके बाद everything is butter or so, for example, I want to know, I mean, there are a lot of aspiring actors around me, thanks to this page or the community. Kuch aisa, and we keep hearing, right? Go to Mumbai, do your struggle, shift to Mumbai, wherever you are, go there, do your struggle. But can you share any actionable that somebody can actually apply? That's like an advice for struggling actors to get, let's say, the audition for girls will be girls that you got. The fact that you got selected from like hundreds of applications. It was something unique in it. So, like any advice for other upcoming actors like yourself?
I think connections really matter. One of my friends, her name is Ria. She was in the DCTC and which is Delhi Collegiate Theatre Circuit, which is a
Yeah.
lot of Delhi colleges and the people who are in the theatre groups. They come to be recognized as DCTC. A lot of people in that group also eventually enter films or they continue theater or they change their profession. Like stay connected with your friends. Someone might end up working with someone. Like reach out to them, ask how they are.
Hmm.
Also, like if you are working in some production or you're working in some casting and you know of a friend and you think they might fit the bill, I think connections really matter. Again, keep working. Like acting is very difficult as a profession.
Yeah.
Fortunately, because of the inequality we live in, opportunities and choices lie with a very few people. When I say keep working, I say keep working maybe in theater, keep
Hmm.
working maybe scripts that inspire you, or just do a script if it's meaning that you will have. I did an ad film in 2021. That was my first screen work. And once I did the ad, the people from the set went on to work on other sets and they
Hmm.
knew my work. So they referenced me. And that's how I got the other three ads. Working with Kani really helped. She got me in touch with the great Anand Gandhi. So with Girls Will Be Girls coming out, I
Hmm.
have a certain access to a few directors and actors. I can reach out to them and I can always tell them that my work is out here. So
Yeah.
please, if you can watch it and share what you think, that'd be great.
About being in touch with other work or like other industries also help you gain more human experiences and it's also like be good to be in touch with the real world. Like academics is a window to that or something else. I don't know if social media so much is, but but by the way, on
Yeah.
that note, I love your Instagram. I don't have a question here. It's just a compliment. I love it. You
Thank-
get it right. And that's also like full time of my job. I'm like, what
Yeah.
captions you put,
Well,
you're funny, you're witty. I
I'm
just
so glad.
I just have a question that emerged. If Mira had internet or like an Instagram account, what would be her bio?
Like, the quote which people put about hard work and dedication getting you to somewhere.
Yeah.
I think she'll have that one quote. Nothing else, nothing fancy like pixie dust or something, or like cake murder on so and so date. She won't have anything like that, but just one quote about that. And I think she'll also add on uh to where she's at. Maybe if she went on to IIT Delhi or IIT Kharagpur.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Slash.
Those
Yeah.
flags of like countries and stuff. Just
Yeah, maybe. Eventually, when she's a bit more fun and she has traveled a little bit of world, then she'll add the flags also. Yeah.
that's hilarious, by the way. Or कुछ similarities. Are you like Mira because that's clearly not your bio? How much how much of that is similar?
I think I became Mira a lot. after the film. It could be because of being in a film and thinking like the character for long. But also I'm different now. I think I would say that I was courageous and I was this headstrong woman, confident and what do you call them? Extroverted
Mm.
when I was. Now I feel like I'm very much an introvert or an ambivert. I'm very, very selective, very, very protective about my social battery.
Huh.
And I travel or having to go to a place and to talk to people, I'm like, I'm just gonna protect myself and like not do it. So that's different from how Mira is. I think Mira is a very public person in school doing all of that. I'm different.
Yeah, I just feel extrovertedness and I completely relate. Now I'm also like I need me time. I think it's just battery, right? You still extrovert, just your battery is going somewhere. Like either it's going traveling or meeting people or festivals in your case. So now IFA will happen. By the way, congratulations for that. That
Thank
is
you so much.
huge. Nobody is an extrovert anymore. Everyone
Every
is looking
that
at the
public.
phone.
I'm an extrovert on social media. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm saying that. I am like, I think I'm a new person on my phone, and I'm living a virtual world. I'm seriously, when I'm watching films or anything, it's like such a cutoff, and you can totally immerse yourself in that screen. That's what's happening here. So it's
Yeah. It's
scary.
always a different personality. And you can also sometimes when like you look at influencers and then you see them off their own account, they seem like a different person altogether, but that can quite happen. Actually, that's not just a social media thing. It's like how two people have a third person, right? That's like a person. So you change.
Yeah.
We're chameleons as humans, I think. I was just asking, how is the feeling of being nominated in IFA? By the way, I didn't even know they nominate independent actors or films anymore. I'm a little cut off from that world, so I'll be honest. I've not seen IFA in the longest times. When we used to be kids, and when New Year's would approach, we would get in our blankets and get like popcorn and stuff, and then watch awards. But that has ended for me long then. But how is the feeling?
I'm honestly, yeah, I'm nervous because there's a lot of
Yeah,
things that go behind looking a certain way and attending the festivals or the awards. It's great that the way you said, it's great for our independent film to be there
yeah,
and to be in a number of categories. It happened so because IFA also is launching their digital awards. So they're giving awards to
wow.
films that have come out. And our film also has a wonderful platform like Prime. So it helps.
Hmm.
It helps distribution was accurate. I feel like awards add a lot of recognition. They add a lot of, they certify in some extent, not fully. I think a film stands the test of time with how people judge it, with how people talk about it. I'm sure we've forgotten what film was awarded in
हाँ, वो तो
1978 or
नहीं
something.
करेक्ट
But we will definitely remember about some films which might not have gotten through
करेक्ट
any award. In the present time, it adds a lot of weightage because independent films basically don't, they struggle the hardest to be made. Independent directors or screenwriters have to fight a lot to preserve their voice, to, fight through, everything that goes around in the world to get exactly what they want to say. All these people is just wonderful. All these people who have been in the industry for a really long time and have given great performances, have given great cinema to India. To be there, it's just wonderful. It's a nice, I think, intermingling of
या
independent films. It's a nice connection. I feel like a lot of artists and actors at this stage in life, after having performed, are taking on roles for producing. It's something that happened with our
या
producers. Glad they did. I am seeing like Alia Bhatt has a production, Anushka Sharma
या
has had a production, Deepika Padukone, Preeti Sanan, they all have production, and it's wonderful because you have the, as producers, you have that autonomy. Okay, this is the kind of story I want to say. So yeah, I'm looking forward to, this is like an open I don't know, call that Kriti Sanan's going to be there, and I would love to talk to her about her production. It's really exciting when
yeah.
actors.
A little about, I know you said कुछ scripts आई कुछ नहीं आई, and there's of course a long way to go. The struggle never stops. But are there any ones that you are looking forward to or something that's coming up in the future which you can talk about? I don't know if one can talk about that.
At that stage again where I feel like, okay, if I'm not getting anything which resonates with me, I feel like I should also take on the role of writing something.
Wow.
When actors write something which comes from within, their performances show that. You look at the actor and you're like, they have a very deep connection with this whole thing. They have a very deep connection with the character. Although I still feel like I need a lot of life experiences to write and to direct, but I think there's some beginning. If I write it now, maybe 10 years down the line, I'll be able to see it.
I love the patience that you have with like putting in art. You're like 10 years. Here you go. Very, very interesting. And also like you are doing animation course is what I read from SRFTI. How is that?
Yeah.
Like so
It's wonderful.
writing, acting and getting awards and making animation. Please, I think that this is wonderful. Please give Indian animation some blood of your talent if you can. Please do that.
I feel like great work that's happening in Indian animation. Upamanyu Bhattacharya.
Yeah, yeah.
Everyone should look. Yeah. There is also this wonderful film called The Death of a Father. It will not make you cry. It may make someone cry, but it'll just hold you. It'll grip you for so long after the film. So I think there's Shirkoa, which is again an Indian animated film that went to Rotterdam. So there's wonderful stuff that's happening. I feel like there's not enough attention that we give to
That's
our.
true. Like with Indian population, what is not there? Like how can greatness not exist in so many collective minds? So when you actually look at it, hunt for it, you find it. And I hope that changes someday. But so thank you so much, Preeti. Those were all of my questions, and you were so patient. Do you want to
So,
leave like a ending something?
I think, yeah, in the end, I would just say that film exists in every corner. It exists in every being of your existence. Like anyone can have the filmmaking case because it really just started from two brothers documenting. Wow. The app approves. But yeah, it just stemmed from two brothers holding on a camera and watching a train station or watching a wall fall. So stories exist in everything. Just pick up your camera, whichever camera it is, and document yourselves. That'll add a lot of cinematic value to your life and to people who will look at your life, like maybe 100 years down the line. When they look at it, they will enjoy, they will get to know who you are through your documents, through your journals. So, yeah. That's all I have to say.
Amazing.